He has 2 wins currently. Mitoe is on 1 win. All to play for in this best of 7. Let's see what he picks. What do you think he's going to pick? Is he going to green up with German or choose something else?
I think he'll go German.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think he'll go German.
So whilst we wait, Steve, do you have any questions on the previous match or on anything at all?
Not so far. Falling pretty well, I think. The shipment...
Enjoying it?
Yeah, I am enjoying it. The thing that I'm still struggling to wrap my head around is how exactly shipments work and what dictates when you can send shipments. Is that what the trading post is for? Is that experience?
There's effectively a 4th resource in this game that's experience.
Okay, so it is experience.
Yeah, and so you can see the little green bar that's sticking underneath the flag in the UI. That's how much experience you have, and when that gets filled all the way up, then you can send another ship.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay, I see.
Yeah, and shipments, integral part of the game. I'll green up. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Saturday Smackdown for the week 25th of October 2014. This is game number 4 in the best of 7 series between Aizamk and Mitoe. For the benefit of myself when I edit this, and I guess for you guys as well, the score is now 2 to Aizamk. We'll begin the game with him. Here he is in the north of the map in the color blue, playing as the Germans. The map is Yukon. Interesting map, actually, for just generally. Why have we... This isn't part of the map pool usually. We'll get on that in just a moment. But, yeah, we see 2 wood crates there. Not too bad. Anyway, here he is playing as the German. Going to go straight for that coin. And then I imagine send his explorer into the left-hand side of the map here across the river, where all of the huge treasures are on this map. And actually not going to get that 40 coin. He's going to do something else. Maybe, okay, laying down a trading post. We'll get on that in a moment. But in the south of the map, in the color teal, we have indeed Mitoe playing as the Indians. 2 explorers here, going to be quite useful on this high treasure map. Lots of treasures here. Zuta, what do you think of this? Siri, why are you going off? Don't know if you guys did that.
Siri, yeah, she's going crazy. Yeah, so trading post start for Germany. It's always good, especially spawning on the top side of the map. I did want to mention, Steve, that it's the little number on the left of the flag, which you can see. So you can see, like, the German player has 45-0 on his flag. When we see this trading cart go by, we're going to see that number spike up. So now it's like 79-0. So you can effectively think of that as like another resource, which is basically the ability to send a shipment. So because he has that trading post, he's going to be able to send his next shipment, which in Age 1 is valued at 300 resources essentially, Age 2 700 resources, Age 3 1000 resources, and Age 4 1600 resources. You can just send those that much quicker and kind of just get your economy rolling in that way as well. So,
speaking of economy rolling though, the Indian player picking up a settler treasure very convincingly with his elephants. Of course, the area damage on them makes it really good picking up, where there's lots of low HP guardians. Carrera de Bois, at this point in the game, is essentially 1/3 of a 3 Vil shipment. That is big.
And another really good treasure for India there. Like you mentioned, India really good at clearing low HP, high guardian treasures, just because they have those elephants with that extra splash damage. Makes clearing those go very, very quickly. And as a result, like picking up things like that CDB, the 60 wood treasure, really easy to do and really good for India to have those 2 treasures spawn on this side of the map.
60 wood is a great treasure as well for India. I mean, for every civ, but specifically India, their villagers cost wood, and it's effectively like picking up a food treasure. You're going to age up that much quicker because you do not need to then collect the wood. I think, actually, wow, yeah, he incorporated that 60 wood into his build as well, because he saw the treasure, so he collected only 40 wood for his final villager, and then used that 60 to put the villager in queue. That's, that choreographer, I can't say that word, but we're talking about, the like the start at the very beginning of Age of Empires 3 is almost like a dance. It's like, I don't know. Anyway, the reason he's got random wood units trickling in is because he has sent that trickle card, which does that. But yes, I was going to mention something that we were talking about earlier, shipments, and Steve said when to send them, which ones to send, and why. I just want to point out, Age of Empires 3, the home city shipment mechanic makes this game so interesting because it gives you so many more options and
very volatile as well. Like it can be hard to judge exactly when that shipment is going to come, and so you have to be really careful with like fighting underneath someone's town center or fighting in their base or fighting even next to like an outpost or a blockhouse or something like that, because you never know when like a shipment of like 5 Cossacks for Russia can just like pop out behind your army and just like catch you in a really bad spot. So like there's like little things like that you have to think about that you don't necessarily have to think about in like Age Online. And I'm just going to be using that as a reference point because I know that's a game that both Steve and I played quite a lot. You could stand in their base with your whole army, and as long as you knew where their military buildings were, you always knew where their army was going to come from. You could fairly well predict what kind of units were going to be coming out of those buildings because, you know, like each building like pretty much spawned a specific unit, like an archery range spawned archers, stuff like that. Barracks can make like both crossbows and pikes, which are like you know, a lot more volatile as well. So there's just like there's so many more. It's harder to like actually identify, and as a result, sometimes you have to play a lot more safe because of that, and some people don't like that. But it also makes for like some kind of crazy situations and stuff like that as well. So
it adds an element of strategic depth. I just want to quote Goodspeed as a final point on this. Goodspeed said in something he wrote once, "I've never understood people who complained about the home city shipment mechanic. I think it's a very original and refreshing idea, one that adds a lot of strategic depth, and is one of the reasons Age of Empires 3 is a very, very good RTS." And that is Goodspeed. I don't know when he wrote it, but yes, here we are. They're both up to the colonial age now. Very standard things coming out of both players. We see that 2 settler wagon shipment out of the German player, which is absolutely huge. The best Age 1 shipment in the game by a long way. It's the equivalent of 4 villagers. And indeed, he has just sent 3 settler wagons as well. Plus, you get those 2 free Yukon. Absolutely disgusting in terms of value. That is so good. And of course, Mitoe sending the wood trickle. Very standard stuff in the early portion of the game, followed by 600 wood. So, what's going on right now?
Yeah, I mean, just a more defensive aggro play. I think Mitoe was trying to mind game A's here because normally when A's plays Germans, he does like this the infamous 2 tower build, which I am so unfond of.
It is so funny every time when you... Okay, go on.
That build is just not very good, and I'm actually happy to see him playing more standard because that build just shouldn't ever work.
Complete trash, you say, but we've seen him win with it so many times that I'm surprised your opinion hasn't changed. But I understand.
It hasn't changed. That build is, and so I'm happy to see him doing something more standard, doing a 5 cav semi FF.
Do you want to explain why it's not so good? I think that is something we ought to say.
Well, I mean,
it's a waste of wood essentially.
So often he builds the towers just like right in on top of his base.
We do, however, right now see some Sepoy coming in. They're walking straight past some villages, but I think when they turn around, they're going to be able to get 2 settler kills fairly convincingly and fairly easily there. Aizamk losing 2 villages right off the bat. That's not too good for him at all. I just wanted to point out the raid. Go ahead, Zuta.
Yeah, but when he builds those outposts, oftentimes he just like kind of puts them down haphazardly and they don't really ever accomplish anything. So we're gonna see another Deadville here, maybe.
No, maybe another Deadville, but also okay, you mean down here, but perhaps.
Yeah, he did get 2 villagers down there. With those
there's been raids on both sides here. The Sepoy are actually being really annoying on this gold mine out front here as well.
And they killed off 3 cav as well.
Yeah, this comes with the territory of this map. Most of the time on Yukon, your gold mine is going to spawn in front of your town center, and that can make FFing really hard. We can see like A's is really struggling to gather the resources required to be able to age up. As a result of that, like this is going to get tricky for him to win. There's just going to be like a non-stop flow of Sepoy, and he doesn't really have the resources required to get aged up, which is essentially what he wants to do.
Yeah, it's not looking too good. Not being able to use the coin to get the age up in queue, as you can say, and just like you can see that these houses are just going down, though he does call out his Minutemen, plus at the same time as that 8 crossbowmen shipment, going to use them to repel. Here are some cavalry coming in from behind, going to use the snaring effect once they go into hand combat or slow them down. They won't be able to escape quite as easily. The crossbowmen and the Minutemen will be able to do lots of damage, but then actually Yulans are very low in hit points, if you know what I mean. Like, they're going to die pretty easily. So is that actually a good use of his cav? It's questionable, but certainly going to be able to snare them and do some damage.
I mean, he had to use them, right? Because otherwise the Sepoys just run back to the Agra Fort. But the Sepoys, even though he lost a lot of them there, it got like such an insane trade. I mean, by killing all the cav, he essentially removes the raiding threat that was previously present.
Yeah.
And now, you know, he can just keep making Sepoys, keep ramping up his eco, keep getting market upgrades.
Yeah. And his eco is really good. He sent all of the settler wagon shipments, which are so efficient for Germany. He has, at this point, managed to force the Indian player back, and I think right now, you know, now he's managed to get the hunt. He's back on his coin mine, looking pretty good.
Yeah, it depends on if he can get this outpost up. Assuming he gets that outpost up, I think he's okay.
Yeah.
But honestly, like, Mitoe doesn't even care. Like, to be perfectly fair, like, this is still a really hard spot for Ace to win from. Mitoe's eco is just as, like, his eco's fine. Like, it's not like he's behind an eco or anything. He's got really good upgrades from his market. I mean, he's got flume and ditching already researched. He's researching professional hunters right now, so, like, his eco ups are good. He's still got map control. And he's just removed the raid threat from the cav, so he can pretty much gather resources without being afraid of potential raids for, you know, the next 5 or so minutes. And as a result of that, I think India is going to have a fairly clear path to victory from here, and it's going to be up to A's to really make something happen to be able to win this game.
Yeah, this is true. I do think we're about to see an engagement there. The Doppelson is coming forward, of course, going to force the cavalry away and getting them back to across the side. Of course, once they're on the front, the Doppelsons are going to take damage from the Sepoy there. He doesn't want that. And, you know, because once they go down, there's nothing really to stop those crossbowmen getting absolutely annihilated by the cavalry here, the Sours, which are now, looks like they're going to come in towards the crossbowmen there. Where actually, where are the Doppelsons? They're on the other side, actually. No,
they're split off.
Playing rather passively.
Coming in.
2 more dops there.
He's actually got no wood. This is an interesting situation where he's forced to make dops because he doesn't actually have any wood remaining in his base.
To create crossbowmen with you.
Yeah. It's quite the conundrum. He's just running out of resources, and the longer this contain on the front of his base goes, the more and more difficult it's going to become to break up.
Pushing out with oh, that's not a tower. I was going to say, wow, where are you getting this this wood from? You ought to be spending that on your crossbowman dude. But yeah, no, that's a house. That's a house. That's yes.
I don't know that Mitoe's army is just getting like scarier and scarier. He can just probably make almost pure Sepoy and just be fine with that. Redcoat's coming forwards as well.
Doppelsonners are really difficult to get value out of because they just die to, like, they're so slow moving. They're good against cavalry. When they're actually doing damage, they're phenomenal. But they move so slowly. They take lots of damage, like a lot of damage from the Sepoy, and you have to make sure that they're not on the front when they don't need to be. And they only come forward to protect your units from cavalry. But yes, the Redcoats have arrived. They are a mixture between Guard and Veteran, I would like to point out, but still very strong indeed. Coming out, of course, the British Consulate, going to bolster this Indian player's army.
I wonder if Mitoe's identified that his opponent doesn't have any wood to gather, and that he can just force engagements, and the more, you know, wood-heavy units that he can kill, like, there's not going to be any replacement for those, just due to the fact that Blue just doesn't have any wood left to gather. Like, he doesn't have anywhere to gather wood.
He does have a little bit. It's starting to sort of gain some map control with regards to wood. Actually going to start laying down a wall there. But all really India needs to do is walk in and force these villages away, and that's exactly what he's going to do. Those settler wagons going to have to get back. One taking a lot of shots there, but of course they are the equivalent of 2 villages. They have quite a lot of hit points, plus the market upgrade, I believe. I would assume so, at least. Not going to go down. That's tanky, though. Can you imagine being shot at by the entire Indian army and surviving?
Yeah, well, having to carry that little cart around with you. Not to mention, you have to carry that little cart around with you. It looks like he has a donkey, like, to help him carry that little cart around, but...
They remind me of the Atlantean villager, actually. Oh, the 2 elephants! Get wrecked, son! Sit down. There we go. Yes. But India is going to tear down this house.
Yeah. And I think Mitoe could have done this ages ago, honestly. Like, I think he could have done this, you know, two minutes ago, just marched in with all his Sepoys and just started killing stuff. I don't know.
And we see that Aizamk is now forced to gather in this horrible spot that's so far away from his town. Is really difficult to defend there. You don't really, you know, if he goes over there, it's just like, oh, okay, my villagers are now trapped, and that's that. But, you know, there is food over here, and the fact that you have to walk over there, like, that's a lot of gather time wasted. Like, people criticize Age of Empires 3 for, you know, not having to build drop sites and stuff, but we do see an engagement here. The cavalry can take out the Gurkha there, getting a really nice, well, there's some trees in the way. I was going to say a nice surround, but actually he's just outnumbered. Those Gurkha, unfortunately, going to get wrecked. There, now you see it.
I think that was a bit of a mistake by Mitoe there. I mean, sure, he is getting some pretty good damage dealt in the base of his opponent, but maybe a little bit of a blunder there to lose all those Gurkha. I mean, he's still obviously in a good spot. He's still got a lot of Sepoy coming forward. Combined with the Minutemen, the damage from the Agroport, I think he'll be able to clean this up and still force a GG. But
those units are going down, right?
But it was still maybe a little bit risky.
Yeah.
A good attempt by Ace.
It's a very Aizamk-esque style thing. Again, I mean, a lot of high-level players do it, but I feel a lot of the time players stay in their base with their army. They of course avoid the fight because you don't want to, you know, you're gonna lose if you full-on encounter that without training enough units. So he tries to make the best use he can out of the army that he doesn't want to send into his opponent's army by actually putting it elsewhere on the map to cause issues for his opponent, and ultimately, hopefully, draw the aggression away from his town or from whatever it's, you know, being on, to somewhere else on the map, force the units to walk around, giving him more time to get back into it, so to speak. But the town center has gone down.
And did you see in all that, Ace actually did manage to squeeze an age at the end as well.
Did he? I did not notice that. Okay.
Not that it's really going to matter because, like, he doesn't have a town center or anywhere to ship anything to, but plus he's going to lose every single one of his houses in his market and his stable.
Oh, it's not so good. There's so much stuff there, Zoo. I just don't want to look at it. Like, if that goes down, everything. Oh god. Okay.
So what's it gonna? It's gonna be mercenaries here. Like, what does he have? Like, what does he have? What does Ace have to work with? He has 9 Black Riders, 13 Jaegers, and improved mercenaries.
That assumes he has the population to send them, right?
Yeah, which is going to be very difficult when all these houses get taken down.
Oh, no.
Yeah, Mitoe being smart, just clearing all of this out, just getting his army huge. Like, there's no pressure for Mitoe to age or anything here. He can just methodically clear out the map, assure himself that, you know, there's nothing here on the south side of the map. Make sure that he has, you know, all the hunt and gold that he's going to need to be able to gather from to continue his production for the next several minutes, and then just go and find, like, essentially the gold mine that Ace is gathering at. And once he's identified that, yeah, he'll be fine.
Yeah, with regards to settler count, they are actually even. So, in terms of villages, I'm going to go take a look at the all resources gathered. Obviously, India will be ahead. He's got upgrades. The villagers haven't had to move around quite as much. But, you know, in terms of economy, if he can somehow be given like 5 minutes to get back into this, or 5 minutes to do whatever he needs to do, he might be okay. Like, if he was left alone, he'd be okay, but he's not going to be left alone. Obviously,
right,
India has that massive unit advantage, right?
He needs like 2,000 gold and another shipment or two, and about 1,000 wood.
Yeah, and he has to replace all these houses, and it's a lot of stuff. So yeah, whilst they're economically similar, it's just look at that mass, look at that score, guys. Into chat, that score.
He's very far ahead, and
he has got a nice composition though.
Yeah, he's got some skirms out, which are going to be annoying for the Sepoy to deal with, but I mean, he's getting pinned down into this corner now, and now that he's been found out about, there's really nowhere for him to run. Skirmishers versus Sepoys are only really that efficient when the skirmishers have somewhere they can continue to kite. Like, there's no more room to kite. Like, he has to make a defense here, and now just these Sepoys are just going to be able to kill everything, basically.
This is true. Plus, Indian player, he's going to add in some cavalry, right? I mean, we already see 5 cav arriving, plus more units, just more Gurkha going to come in here. It's not looking good for Aizamk. I think we will see the result of calling the Minutemen there. I think that is the only thing he could do to help hold. There's no extra shipment he's going to pop on top of it, or a extra batch of units. That is the end of the game. 2-2. Aizamk starting out with 2 wins, no losses. Mitoe clawing it back to 2 wins. This is proven to be so far a fairly interesting series. What happened in this game?
Well, Ace just got out-civved, essentially. He tried to do something normal, and normal German versus India is just losing.
It's tough.
It's tough. It's a hard matchup.
He is out of practice, he said.
Yeah, which is fair enough. I mean, but it's more so that Mitoe just did a good job of controlling the gold mine, just securing the map and not really letting the German player ever get out of his base, and effectively just starved him out, made him, be in a really awkward situation from 5 minutes on, and that's just what India does. I mean, India's a top civ for that exact reason, because their military is so strong, and they've just got all these nice mechanics for applying pressure and stuff that.
And he picked up a CDB and some extra wood, which was really helpful in the early games. He had a really good start on top of all of those things as well. It's just, wow.
Yeah, certainly he had a phenomenal start with the 60 wood, the CDB,
That is true.
I'll also help anyone.
I think that does indeed conclude game number 4 in this series. And we're now going to head out and get into the next one.